Hello Internet, so nice to see you. The lick is a very popular musical phrase that has found its way in countless jazz and not only jazz solos and improvisations, and has been popularized, among many, by Adam Neely, who uses it as a recurring theme in his YouTube channel. Hi Adam. The lick, in its basic form, is made by 7 notes: D, E, F, G, E, C, D. Now, since the lick has been used forever by everybody, I think it's interesting to see if we can get something new out of it. So in this video, I'm gonna invent 720 variations on the lick. First of all, I hear the lick in D Dorian, that is on the scale that has notes D, E, F, G, A, natural B, C, not really in D minor. So I'm gonna keep this scale all the way throughout. This means that the context of the lick is a D minor 7 or D minor 9 chord. And not only I'm gonna limit myself to the D Dorian scale, I'm also going to keep the original rhythm of the lick exactly as it is. So the only thing I'm gonna change are the notes inside the lick in a way that it's still related to the original lick. Let's go. Variation idea number 1. We can sequence the lick. What is a sequence? Well, the idea is that the original lick is D, E, F, G, E, C, D. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to move every single one of these notes to the next note in the scale. So D becomes an E, E becomes an F, F becomes a G, G becomes an A, E becomes F, C becomes D, D becomes E. And then I play this new lick with the exact same rhythm. And then I can do it again. I can move all those notes again to the next note of the scale. So E becomes F, F becomes G, G becomes A becomes B, F becomes G, D becomes E, E becomes F, and I play this new lick. And then I can go on and on until I come back to a D. So in principle, I find 7 different variations of this one original lick and 6 new versions of the lick, each one starting on a different note of the scale. But if I go and check what I'm doing, I see that in fact I have only 5 actual variations of the lick because, for instance, the original version starting from D and the version starting from the note A are in fact the same phrase, they have the same intervals inside. And the same can be said for the version starting from E and the version starting from B. And sure, we can be picky and say that those variations are actually different because if we play them on the same chord, we are hitting different chord tones and different chord intervals. But just for the calculation inside this video, I'm gonna count this as 5 and not as 7 because I don't want to give the impression here that I'm overcounting the number of variations. So let's say that by sequencing the lick, I get 5 different variations. Variation idea number 2. I can play the retrograde of the lick. What is the retrograde? Again, the original lick is D, E, F, G, E, C, D. So what I can do here, and I know that this is not the academic retrograde, I'm just changing slightly the meaning of the word here, but I can read the lick from the end to the beginning, but I am keeping the same timing right now. So rather than reading D, E, F, G, E, C, D, I'm reading D, C, E, G, F, E, D, and playing it with the same rhythm sounds this way. And of course, I can do this for all the 5 variations I had before. So I had 5 original variations from the sequence idea, and now I get other 5 by reading each one of them from the end to beginning. So now in total I have 10 variations. Variation idea number 3, inversion. I can take the original lick D, E, F, G, E, C, D and think this way. When the lick goes up one note in the scale, like from D to E, I can instead go down a note in the scale, so I start from D, but now I go down a note in the scale to C. Then from E to F, the lick goes up another note in the scale, so I go down another note to B. When the lick goes up again from F to G, another note in the scale, I go down another note from B to A. Now the lick goes from G to E, so down 2 notes, and I'm doing the opposite. I'm going up 2 notes, A to C. The lick keeps going down another 2 notes, E to C, and I'm going up 2 notes, C to E. then the lick goes C to D, up a note, and I go down one note, E to D. So both versions start from D, end from D, but they are, if you want, the mirror version of each other vertically. Whenever the original lick goes up, my new inverted lick goes down. And it sounds this way. And I can, of course, apply this inversion idea not only to the original lick, but also to the other variations of the lick. So I had 10 variations before, and now I can invert every single one of them, and I have a total of 20 different variations. Playing all of them is left as an exercise to the viewer. Variation idea number 4. So far, we've seen ideas like sequence, retrograde, and inversion that are pretty common in music theory. Now we're gonna see something a bit more sophisticated. I'm gonna call this idea phasing. It's not really the right word for it, but it's very similar to another idea that the composer Steve Reich was using in his composition and that he called phasing. So I'm gonna call it phasing here, even if I know that it's not the academically correct word, just because I want to give it a name. And by the way, this has nothing to do with the phaser effect. The idea is to write the lick again, D, E, F, G, E, C. I'm not going to write the last D for this moment. And I just want to change the starting point of the lick, but keep the rhythm. So the original lick starts from the first note D, plays through all those notes, and end with the first note. Now I want instead to start from the second note, so play E, F, G, E, C, D, and end again with my starting note E. Then I could start the lick from the F, play F, G, E, C, D, E, and end on the F again. And I'm gonna keep the same rhythm. Or I can start from G and play G, E, C, D, E, F, G. Or I can start from this E. Or I can start from the last C. So now I have 6 different variations of the original lick, but again, I can apply all those 6 variations to all the variations I found before. Before I had 20 variations, now I have 6 different ways to play each one of them, starting from the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, or sixth note. So I have 120 variations so far. Variation idea number 5. That's a bit more advanced than the other ideas in this video, so pay attention, stay with me, and we'll get through it together. So the original lick is D, E, F, G, E, C, D. When I go from D to E, I'm going up 1 note in the scale. In the expansion, I'm gonna double this number, so I'm gonna go up 2 notes in the scale. So I'm starting from D, and I go up 2 notes in the scale to F. Then from E to F, the lick goes up another note in the scale, and in my variation I go up 2 notes from F to A. Then from F to G, the lick goes up another note in the scale, so I'm gonna go up 2 notes in my variation from A to C. Then from G to E, the lick goes down 2 notes, so I'm gonna double that number and I'm gonna go down 4 notes from C to F. Then the lick goes down from E to C, 2 notes in the scale, so I'm gonna go down 4 notes in the scale from F to B. And finally, the lick goes up from C to D only 1 note, and I'm gonna double this number and go up from B to D in my variation. So I have expanded the lick by expanding every interval in it. How does it sound? This way. Of course, I can expand the lick even more. Rather than multiplying every interval by 2, I can multiply it by 3. So I have a new lick that starts from D, goes up 3 notes to G, 3 notes to C, 3 notes to F, then down 6 to G, down 6 to A, plus 3 to end in D. How does this sound? Well, to have enough space in the guitar, now I have to start from the D 1 octave lower. But then I can expand my lick even more by multiplying all the intervals by 4, not just by 3. So, starting from D, I go up 4 notes to A, then 4 notes to E, then 4 notes to B, then down 8 notes to A at the lower octave, then down other 8 notes to G at the lower octave, then up 4 notes to end in D. But then I can expand even more. I can multiply every interval by 5, or by 6, or by 7. Let's see what happens with 7. I start from D, I go up 7 notes to C, 7 notes to B at a higher octave, other 7 notes to go even higher for A, then down 14 notes to C, then down 14 notes to E. Of course, I'm jumping octaves down, and then now I'm going up 7 notes to the original D. Which is something that I would have never played by myself if I was just improvising. Anyway, now I have the original lick, plus the expansion in 2, in 3, in 4, in 5, in 6, and in 7. So now I have 7 different variations, and I can apply any one of those variations to the 120 variation I had before. So now I have 120 times 7, 840 different variations of the lick. And by the way, at the beginning of the video, I said that we had 720 variations. I miscounted. Sorry about that, but hey, we get 120 more variations than what I promised, which I think it's pretty good. There are of course many more variations of this lick. Notice again that I stayed in the same scale, D Dorian, and I kept the exact same rhythm, and the only thing I changed was the relationship between the notes, and still all those variations, if you play them, are recognizable as being related to the original lick. But I don't want to say that those are the only possible variations of the lick. The sky is the limit. You can change the rhythm, you can change the scale, you can change whatever you want. What I'm showing here are just examples. Of course, now if you want to play all these on your guitar, you need to be a bit familiar on where the notes are, how the interval works, how the scale are laid out on the guitar, and so on and so forth. Familiarity with your fretboard is absolutely fundamental if you want to be able to do variations like this in real time, like when you are improvising or when you are composing a song. If you want help doing this, I recommend you have a look at my course Master of the Modes. That is not a book, it's a complete video course made by guitar players for guitar players, when we work all the theory straight on the fretboard. There are no piano examples, everything is worked to be immediately applicable to a guitar player, and where we learn how scales and mode lay out on your guitar, how to memorize them, how to work with them, how to navigate them, and how to make music with them. If you have just a minute, click on the link on the top right and have a look at it. If you like this video, smash on that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And please click on notification, otherwise YouTube will not tell you when a new video comes up. This is Tommaso Zilio of musictheoryforguitar.com, and until next time, enjoy.